Coors Field style, as the Rockies have returned home from their 4 days in San Diego. They won yesterday 6-1. A.J. Hinch's team was in St. Louis, and they lost a 2-1 ball game. Well, they've played decently of late, despite a number of moves that Jeff Houston told you about. Stephen Drew will be atop the lineup with Felipe Lopez gone to Milwaukee. Ryan Roberts just called up. He'll be at second base. Then Justin Upton, the All-Star. Mark Reynolds had a big year. Gerardo Parra has looked very good. He's a 22-year-old. Chris Young's had a difficult season. Luke Carlin behind the plate. Augie Ojeda will be at third base tonight. And the left-hander Doug Davis. The Rockies also have a left-hander on the hill, Jorge De La Rosa, making his first start since the All-Star break. In fact, his last appearance came out of the bullpen Sunday before the break against the Atlanta Braves, when he worked 2 innings. Let's take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on the native of Mexico.
It's all going to be starting with that fastball. Once he's able to command that, all the other 3 pitches really come into play. And for me, it's going to be the changeup tonight, especially against the right-handed hitters of the Diamondbacks. And look for Jorge, what he's done last year, post-second half. He was 7-3 with a 3.08 ERA. Opponents only hit 228 off him. So look for him to carry that over, hopefully into the second half of 09.
That would be nice. Here's the defense behind De La Rosa this evening. Seth Smith in left field. Dexter Fowler in center. Brad Hoffman right. Ian Stewart, Troy Tulowitzki, Clint Varmas, Todd Helton, Chris Iannetta. And you may notice that the Rockies, against a left-handed pitcher, have 4 left-handed bats in their lineup. Now, Ryan Spilborg would have been starting in left field, except Ryan's wife, Tracy, went into labor this morning. And so we wish the Spilborgs all the best as they bring in, did I say Tracy? I said Stacy. I'm sorry. Stacy and Ryan, all the best as they bring a new one into the world. That will be great news for the Spilborgs and for the entire Rockies family. So Seth Smith is out there, and Jim Tracy's bench a little bit shorter, but for good reason tonight.
Well, he's right where he should be.
He is right where he should be. And you know what? You're facing a left-hander, and we'll talk more about this when Doug Davis takes the hill. But Huey, you're facing a left-hander that's not a dominant left-on-left guy.
No.
Lefties hit 255 against him.
Yeah, and not overpowering. It's not like he's going to throw that 95-mile-an-hour fastball. He's somebody that you can see pretty well from the left side.
So here we go. Stephen Drew steps up with a 255 average. And I said this about 10, 12 days ago when the Rockies last saw the Arizona Diamondbacks, and they took 2 of 3 here at Coors Field. Stephen Drew, I think, is their best hitter in their lineup, yet the average is not where you'd expect it to be. Good slider. Game time temperature 86 degrees. It's warm.
It is a little warm considering what we've dealt with the last 4 days in San Diego, but take it. It's nice to be back home.
And Drew is gone on a slider. Good start for De La Rosa. No messing around on 0-2.
I like that. We saw too many times on the last road trip. A little nibbling. No, he just went right after him, strike him out. Let's take a look at our Bird Automotive keys to victory tonight for the Colorado Rockies. Home sweet home. How nice it is after another successful road trip to be able to come back home and play in front of your home fans. And then no Lopez. We talked about that. The leadoff hitter, 301, most consistent hitter for Arizona. To me, he's a huge void that they're going to have to try to fill. And then payback time. The D-backs took 2 out of 3 from you last time. Time to take it back from them this time.
Now Ryan Roberts, who's gone back and forth between Phoenix and Reno, the AAA affiliate of the Diamondbacks, got the call up last night after the trade of Lopez. He's in the starting lineup. Inside 1-1. We're talking about Ryan Spilborg's wife Stacy expecting. In a few days, Ryan Roberts is going to have to take off because his wife expecting their first child in about a week. The due date comes up, and this ball's fouled off.
Well, there was some talk that Ryan might have to leave San Diego early and fly back here, and unfortunately he was able to wait till he got back here and be with his wife.
Roberts, in his last stint with Arizona, went 3 for his last 40 before being sent out. A tough transition.
Well, it is. When you're used to playing every single day down at the minor league level, you get those consistent at-bats, a whole different animal when you're asked to come off the bench, play different positions, short, third, second, outfield. And then, oh, by the way, you also have to hit.
Here's the 1-2. There's that changeup. It was outside and away. 2-2.
Well, this is a pretty good matchup for Jorge because he strikes out a lot of guys, fourth in the National League as far as the strikeouts per 9 innings ratio. And then you look at the D-backs. One of the teams that lead the league in strikeouts as a team.
They have a couple guys in the middle of their lineup, namely Mark Reynolds, also Justin Upton, that will strike out quite a bit. Chris Young further down in the lineup, who's really scuffled this year. He strikes out a great deal. Well,
Reynolds 124 punch outs, he's 76 for Young. I mean, that's not putting the ball in play very often.
Here's the 3-2, and this ball's in the air to center field. Dexter Fowler waiting, he's got it. And that is out number 2. That'll bring up Justin Upton, who went 1 for 13 in the St. Louis series. And he's just 10 for 60 in his last 15 games since July 1st. And sometimes you see this, especially with young players, when they go to the All-Star game. There's just so many things going on, you don't really get your rest.
Right. And that's why I thought it was very good of Jim Tracy on Thursday to give Brad Hopp the day off. Even before he's coming back, he knows that he's got that day off. And Jim understands the fact how much it involves the All-Star game, the travel, getting there, playing in the game, and then coming back and joining your club again. And he gave Brad that day off just to decompress. I remember asking Brad that day, I said, how was that? He said, oh, man, it was great knowing I didn't have to play that night. And, oh, by the way, we scored about 10 runs, so I didn't have to worry about even getting in there.
And he's a guy a lot like Helton. He wants to be out there every inning. This is a swinging bunt. Tough play for De La Rosa. No play. And he shouldn't have thrown it. That went into the seats. That will be an automatic advancement for Upton. That's where Jorge's got to be smarter.
Yeah.
And he picks up the baseball. In the clock in his head, I would assume Huey says you got no chance.
Well, that's why.
And then you look and you realize you got no shot.
Well, and he didn't go after it real fast either. It was one of those swinging bunts that you look it up, and he goes over there and he tries to grab it, mishandles it at first. And once you do that, go ahead and just eat it. Now, instead, you give the guy the single, which is okay, but then you compound it by getting your 4th error of the season and allowing him now to get into scoring position.
So Mark Reynolds, who has always swung the bat well here at Coors Field, told me before the ball game it is one of his 2 favorite places to hit, the other being his home park, Chase Field. 2 great backgrounds to hit in. And of course, the ball travels well here, and it travels very well down in Phoenix.
Well, 2 of the best batter's eyes for me as a former hitter, looking at the batter's eye out in center field. Chase Field has a good one, and of course Coors Field has a great one here with the way they have the ivy or climbing up onto the wall, so you get a good visual, a good backdrop to see the ball.
2-0 on Reynolds. The Rockies, you may recall, in that series with Arizona, where they lost 2 of 3, the 2 games they lost, they're going to put Reynolds on and go left on left with Parra, and I think that's the right move. Even early in the ball game, especially for a guy like De La Rosa, who sometimes allows little things to become big things. But
well,
you go back to that previous series, Rockies were up 3-0 and 4-0 and didn't hold late leads.
Yeah, and 2 of your better starters, and Aaron Cook and Ubaldo Jimenez were there. You know, Cook didn't get the loss in the one. The bullpen unfortunately came out and gave it up, but then Ubaldo lost the last one. So you look at those, and those were a series where you definitely could have taken all 3 ball games.
So the 22-year-old Gerardo Parra steps in. 274 average, 3 home runs, 30 RBIs, done a very nice job. But Jim Tracy did not even need to look at one of his charts to know that he's hitting 174 left on left.
Well, and the other thing, the big dangerous bat in your lineup, just get him out of there and go ahead and put him out at first base.
95-mile-an-hour fastball at the knees, strike 1. even in the first inning, I just love this move because a guy whose confidence can be shaken easily. This is hard on the ground to second, and that's the end of the inning. In De La Rosa, he's going to have a lot more confidence dealing with a young hitter left on left in Park than the slugger Reynolds.
Great outcome.
Soft tossing left-hander is crafty. Dexter Fowler will lead things off, then Clint Varmus in the 2-hole. Helton and Hopp back-to-back. Troy Tulowitzki. Then Ian Stewart against Arizona. 3 home runs. He's driven in 9, a 300-plus average. Seth Smith with a 7-game hitting streak will be in the 7th hole. Chris Iannetta and then Jorge De La Rosa. Stepping in, Dexter Fowler against Doug Davis, who has seen all the big league sights in both leagues. And the first pitch in there for a strike. It was a heater, and I put that in quotations, at 83 miles an hour.
I like that, quotations.
That was a cut fastball at 81 miles an hour.
Yeah, so that tells you right there what you're going to get most of the night.
Yeah,
from the fastball side.
Yeah, I'm looking at Dexter, and he's in the extreme back of the box. Some guys, no matter how hard or soft somebody throws, they don't move, do they?
No, they don't, because you just feel comfortable. That's where when you walk up to the plate, because think about this, most of the time you're going to face a guy that's throwing harder than that, so you get a comfortable spot in the box, you make your hole, you dig it, you do everything, and then when you change and you get up a little bit closer, you just feel all out of whack.
Did you move around a little bit if you had a real soft tosser?
A real soft tosser, I might move up just 2 or 3 inches. The only other guy I would do it for sure would be a knuckleball pitcher, Charlie Huff, when I face him, or Tim Wakefield.
1-2 on Dex. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Swung on and missed. So a strikeout of Fowler by Davis to begin the ball game from the Rockies' perspective offensively. And Clint Varmus will be next as we take a look at the Fidelity scouting report on Davis.
Well, we already talked about his fastball, 82 to 86, but it's going to be right around 83, 84 tops with some tail. We'll cut it occasionally, but then the big sweeping curveball that he'll throw to the left-handers, and then the changeup works it down and away to right-handers. Doug Davis at night, 2-7 with the 4.61 ERA.
You see the record, you said, well, that's not very good, 4-9. You look at the ERA, you say, well, that's pretty good, 3.41.
Well, and also, you know, his run support, very low run support for Doug Davis, too. That's another thing that's hurt him.
Yeah, bit of a contrast because De La Rosa's had some of the best run support in the game this year. Varmus fouls it off, and quickly a 2-strike count.
And that's what Doug Davis is going to try to do to you. Try to work ahead. We'll work the outside part. Occasionally we'll cut it in on your hands, but especially the right-handed hitters. You have to think basically from second base over to right field. If you think about pull mode, he'll just eat you up all night with ground balls.
Barmes fouls that one off. Davis tonight making his 20th start, 275th big league start. In his last outing, he went only 4 innings. Gave up 5 runs on 7 hits against the Cardinals.
You see that little move from Clint Barmes where he just kind of rolled his left shoulder back towards home plate just a little bit. That was reminding him to stay back. Stay back on the ball, stay back on that right leg just a little bit longer before you start to go towards the pitcher.
Well, he reached back and got 88 there. And that can be, we're laughing about, but honestly, when you're 80, 81, 82, curveball, and you get lulled to sleep, all of a sudden 88 can get by you.
Yeah, it seems like 94. Just because he does kind of lull you to sleep, it's all of a sudden it's real slow, real quiet, and then bang, it's right there.
And his delivery is methodical. Are you at the plate saying, throw it already?
Yeah, because that's what he's trying to do, is throw that timing off. And so typically what you're taught is when the pitcher starts to go back and get the balance on his back legs, that's when as a hitter you start to go back just a little bit, but you have to wait longer with Davis.
Barmes has worked at full 3 and 2. And this is lashed to left center field for a base hit. Hara gets over. And Barmes, a wide turn, will go back to first. So a 1-out single for Clint Barmes. And that'll bring up Todd Helton as we check the Diamondbacks defensively. Hara, Chris Young, and Justin Upton in the outfield. Augie Ojeda, Stephen Drew left side. Ryan Roberts, Mark Reynolds on the right side. And Luke Carlin doing the catching tonight. Now Todd Helton, as many of you are aware, sitting on 499 career doubles. Having a great July. He's at 391 so far in the month, and he takes high and in, ball 1. Todd has 28 doubles. He's tied with Brad Hopp for second to Miguel Tejada in the National League in doubles. 15 of the 28 have come on the road. For all those people who think everything offensively happens at Coors Field, and nothing for the Rockies happens out on the road. That's in the dirt. Barmes got to get back. Just did. Almost got caught in no man's land.
Yeah, he did, because that ball did not get that far away from Luke Carlin. He's gotten the secondary lead. It's secondary lead right there, and takes a half couple, 2 or 3 steps and realize it didn't go that far. And then Reynolds, a little bit of the inexperience over there playing at first base. The way he went out really in front of first base before he received the ball and had to sweep all the way back to the backside of the bag.
2-0 on Helton. Fans, feed your Rockies fever at Taco Bell. When the Rockies score 7 or more runs, go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations the next day between 4 and 6 in the afternoon. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Only 1 order per customer. That's in there, 2-1. Paul Emmel is behind home plate. Gary Darling, crew chiefs at first base. DJ Rayburn at second, and Mike Estabrook working third base.
Paul gives that sign real quick whether it was a strike. There's no guessing with him. Doug Davis is one of the rare guys from the left side, left-handed pitcher that can really come up and kind of pause for a second and read a base runner. Not many left-handers can do that. The reason he can, because he's not overpowering to the plate. He's got to be able to have some deception to keep that guy honest and not let him get a big jump.
He got a big jump there, got a breaking ball, stolen base, and it got past the catcher, Carlin. He got a huge jump, talking about Barmes. 8th stolen base for Clint.
I like the call from Jim Tracy too, because he said, I'm gonna take a gamble here and I'm gonna send a first movement. That's exactly what he did with the Hyundai Cam. And you see how quick Luke Carlin had to come up and try to move his feet, because he knew how big a jump that Clint Barmes got, and then he forgot to catch the baseball. It wouldn't have mattered anyway, because he would have been safe.
Was a big part of that Jim Tracy guessing that he was going to get an off-speed pitch on a 2-1 count to Helton?
Yes, yeah, it really is, because of Helton's success against Doug Davis. I mean, when you're hitting 556, you figure he's going to go to something soft.
And now Todd really in the driver's seat. 3-1 count. And he takes ball 4. And Davis walks Helton for the 4th time in their career matchups. Todd has 5 hits and 9 at bats. 2 on for Brad Hop.
You can see a pitch pretty good if you're Todd Helton. Look at it, he's right on it. Realize that ball is going to stay inside from the Hyundai Cam. Notice how Davis comes right over the top with that curveball on this one. He wants to try to get more of the 12-6 action instead of the sweeper, where he goes out towards that front hip and drops it to the outside part of the plate on a left-hander.
Now Brad Hop's turn. Brad's only seen Davis 4 times, 1 for 4. Outfield backs up. Chris Young slightly on the pull side. And the same thing with Ryan Roberts, the second baseman. Well, yesterday, Brad Hop went deep to the opposite field. He hit it good.
He got those long arms extended about 8 rows back, and that ball just kept carrying.
That was his 15th home run of the year. Down low. You were mentioning that Jim Tracy told Brad before he even left for St. Louis on that Sunday, I'm giving you Thursday off. And it has paid off in that Brad is 5 for 11, a home run, couple of RBIs in the 3 ensuing ball games. A well-rested guy that didn't get the normal break that most non-all-stars get.
Well, and also the mental break of realizing that I don't have to rush back and get right back in the lineup.
Double play ball. It's booted by Roberts. He's going to get 1 on Helton. So it'll be 1st and 3rd for Tulowitzki. So Ryan Roberts, they've used a little bit behind the plate, kind of a super utility type guy. That was tailor-made for 2.
It is, and now instead of being out of the inning, you got to face a guy like Troy Tulowitzki. Easy 2-hopper, maybe a little bit of an in-between hop, but this has been part of the problem for the Arizona Diamondbacks all year long, not being able to put the inning away, giving another team an extra out or 2. And A.J. Hinch talked about it in his pregame meeting today with the media, the way they need to clean up their defense. Well, there was no error on that play, but there should have been.
Sure. That's a double play ball. You know, I don't care if Deion Sanders is running. That ball was hit very hard right at the second baseman. See if Tulowitzki can make Arizona pay. Tulo takes a strike. Arizona is 15 of 16 National League clubs defensively.
Yeah, and at this level, every single out is precious. And when you start giving teams 28, 29, 30 outs, they're going to capitalize, and that's why your record's what it's at.
One and one. I think similar to San Diego. You're talking about a team that has already put up the white flag for the year. Josh Burns was quoted in the papers today as saying, you know, we're building toward 2010. That's why we let Felipe Lopez would be a free agent at the end of the year go. We may not be done making deals. Well, the players realize that. I'm not saying they're not going to go out and give effort, but if you get up on them early, This ball is ripped to the gap in right center field. The Rockies will get up early. In fact, Brad Hop may have a chance to score. He gets the green light, and Hop comes around. The throw to third is in time, and Tulowitzki's hung up, but he made sure that the run scored before he was tagged out. A two-run double for Troy Tulowitzki, and the Rockies are off early against the D-backs. Going to be getting tips on how to play third base by a guy who's been playing it very, very well, Ian Stewart. And our first tip tonight is on why he likes to use a smaller glove at third.
With the smaller glove, I can feel my hands a little bit more, and when the ball comes in here, I just feel like, you know, there's not a lot of room for the ball to move around in my glove, and you know, it's just easier for me to get the ball out of my glove with my throwing hand, so that's why I use a smaller glove.
And the first hitter is Chris Young, and he takes strike one from Jorge De La Rosa. Now, it's interesting that he uses kind of a middle infield glove because more third basemen like a little more length.
Yeah, they'll go to the 12-inch glove or so, just something a little bit longer, because you think about you have less time to react over at third. So typically you want a big glove. This is a 12-inch glove, which is actually bigger than the one Ian Stewart uses at third base. It's Ian Stewart at 11.5 is more of what you would see from a second baseman. Even Troy uses a bigger glove at shortstop than Ian uses at third.
Now you played every infield spot. When you were over at third, did you use the glove you used in the middle of the diamond? Strike three on Chris Young.
Yes,
or did you prefer to go to a longer glove?
No, I just, because I didn't play there every single day, it was one of those situations I felt more comfortable with old Mr. Reliable, the one I had all the time, my baby, that I just kept in the dark until it came out at game time.
Will you let me touch that fine?
No.
No?
No. This is my security blanket.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
It's right under your pillow. I know that.
Not anymore.
Well, it is, because Wendy shared that with me the other day. You had to bend a little bit more, though.
I did,
yes.
That. Yeah. Well, and that's where your footwork, your knees, and everything like that. We'll get into that a little bit later in the broadcast. But footwork is so important for any athletic movement, but especially for infielders.
Luke Carlin at the plate, switch hitting catcher. Here's the 1-0, and that misses. 2-0. Diamondbacks have won 8 of 12. They're trying to hang in there, but overall, they're in 4th place, 19 games out. Hard ground ball to Tulowitzki on the move. Nice play by Troy. Time for our first Mike Shaw auto update of the ball game, and here is Alana Rizzo.
Hey, Drew, thanks very much. I asked pitching coach Bob Apodaca earlier today who Jorge de la Rosa reminds him of. And, you know, he actually had to think about it for a little while. I went back and asked him. He said he reminds me of the Giants' Jonathan Sanchez. Not necessarily the same delivery for the two guys, but the fact that they have the same type of stuff on the mound and the ability to win ball games every single time they go out there. He also told me, well, I certainly have never met anybody personality-wise like de la Rosa. He's like, I've never met a pitcher as quiet as he is, but then he can kind of erupt when he gets mad. He goes, I do like the passion, though. So Jonathan Sanchez, it would be nice if Jorge could get a no-hitter at some point, guys.
Yeah, you know, no-hitters are nice to have. Inside on Augie Ojeda, de la Rosa.
You don't say that nearly as well as Alana. I'm going to just tell you
How
that
was
right
it?
now.
Oh, you guys, I appreciate. We had a Spanish lesson earlier today, and you're working on it, and I'm proud of you. It's de la Rosa. You got to roll your R's.
De la Rosa. De la Rosa. And you know what? I thought, honestly, if I had to give myself in your tutorial with Huey a grade, I thought I would get a B and Huey would get a C.
Really?
And, yeah, and I also thought that Huey's focus in class today wasn't what it should be.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't think
You guys
so because I was also thinking of they have somebody else out in their bullpen, Leo Rosales.
Very nice.
Okay,
It's
Omar
Rosales.
Quintanilla.
Quintanilla, very good.
Yeah.
And it's not Ojeda, it's Ojeda, but that's fine.
There you
it's
go.
Augie Ojeda, but that's fine.
See, Drew wasn't listening. I was.
We will come back and we will revisit our Spanish lesson tomorrow, guys.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
See, I was going to get Rosetta Stone. Instead, I got Alana Rizzo. Which is much better.
Because it's just a one-on-one down in the dugout.
It's not live to tape. It's just
Live.
2-2 on Augie. And I don't want to use his last name. Ojeda's a California kid who went to the University of Tennessee, by the way.
Tennessee, yes. Wrong UT.
The other UT, the East Coast UT, or the eastern part of the country UT. This ball is slapped to left foul. That may have done in the back.
Sounded like it. And that boy's already grabbing another bat. Taking it to Augie.
A reminder, if you have windshield damage, call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, at 303-287-5000 or visit safelight.com. 2 outs, nobody on. Rockies up 2-0 on the Tulowitzki double. You know, we didn't really talk about that. Tulo had to stop as the ball arrived at third about 20 feet before him. It's that old line, isn't it, that you want to make the first or third out at third base.
And let the run score.
Yep. So the Rockies will go right back to the bat rack. Ian Stewart will lead it off. Diamondbacks here for 3 ball games. Thursday's an off day, and then the Giants will come in over the weekend. And then it's off to the Big Apple to see Citi Field for the first time. 4 ball games against the New York Mets. Let's see if the Mets have enough guys to field a team when the Rockies arrive there.
They might have, but up from AAA.
You know who just got called up?
Yes, how about that?
Corey Sullivan. Yeah. Good news for Corey. Doug Davis behind 1-0 on Ian Stewart, who had his 17th home run of the season yesterday in San Diego. And that ball is ripped to right center field. It's going to run to the wall. Ian Stewart's going to get a double out of this. That thing was hit so far, so hard. Justin Upton, who runs very well, he wasn't that far from it. The thing just skipped all the way to the wall quickly.
For his 15th double on the year, right on the sweet spot of the bat from the Hyundai cam. The hands drop down in position, that head follows it. This is what I like, when those hands get going through the zone. Not even a stride from Ian Stewart on that. And he'll do this occasionally against a guy that does not throw that hard like Doug Davis, but the topspin on it, all Justin Upton could do was track it down once it stopped rolling.
Now Seth Smith tried to drag a bunt. And I guarantee he was pulling that baseball, trying to, because you have Davis, Huey, falling off to the third base side, and you have Mark Reynolds, who's on an unfamiliar corner.
Yeah, and the bat's out in front of him, and then he tries to swing at it just a little bit. But the reason why he was not able to do it is because it was such a slow breaking pitch, and he just left it up. It didn't break right where he thought it was going to be.
0-2 on Smith. 7-game hitting streak for Seth. Got the average at .305. The on-base percentage at .409.
Yeah, 7th straight start for him too.
Well, Jim Tracy said it. I mean,
it has to.
He's forced his way into the lineup. You can't ignore what he's done.
No, not at all. I mean, .423 during that 7-game hitting streak. So yeah, he's got to be out there playing every day. And that's what Jim Tracy likes. I mean, yeah, he likes him on the bench, what he's been able to do after the 7th inning as a pinch hitter, all of that. But why not get him 4 or 5 at bats during a ball game, and then you don't have to worry about the pinch hitting.
Here's the 1-2. And this ball to right center field, and Upton with the great speed comes on and makes the catch. So the Rockies with 4 lefties in the lineup, Jeff. First lefty Helton walked. Brad Hopp hit the ball hard into a force play. The next lefty, Ian Stewart, doubled. And then Seth Smith, the 4th lefty, lines out. So you have a hit in there. You have 2 guys that reached. The lefties taking good hacks.
Yeah, look at those numbers right there, folks. 255 and 263. Not a whole lot of difference there between a righty or lefty. So you don't feel like you're going to be at a disadvantage by putting that many left-handers into the lineup. And quite frankly, the lefties that you put out there are pretty good hitters.
Chris Iannetta, another one of those guys you look to and you say, his average has got to go up. He's a better hitter than 222. And other than maybe Brad Hopp, who is in the neighborhood of 25 to 30 points above his career average. You know, Helton's right around his career average. Most of the other Rockies are at or below their career average. So you can't point to the Rockies right now and say, well, they've played really well, but, you know, guys are having career years. No. Or that has not been the case offensively. Not
yet. I mean, it's, as you mentioned, a couple guys, but throughout the whole lineup, no, there's still a few guys that are well below where you think they will end up by the end of the year. And this is a prime example, Chris Iannetta, of being that guy. What he hit last year, 265, and this year just Coming in the ballgame, 222.
Now, Doug Davis doesn't work quick when there's no one on base. When there's folks aboard, the game really slows down.
Yeah, it comes down to a grinding halt with runners on. He's just allowed a 205 average, so that's why I think he lulls the hitters to sleep.
This is looped into right field. It's going to drop for a hit. Stewart gets a stop sign as Upton got to the baseball very quickly. Now you can do that with one out. If there are two outs and the pitcher's coming up, Richie Dower is going to center.
Yep. But now you still got an opportunity to be able to lay down a bunt. Chris just fought this ball off to right field. There was a cutter in on his hands, and he tried to pull the hands in, and he did. He pulled them in enough, and he was strong enough to hit it out to right field. But one hop, though, to Justin Upton in right field. Stewart sees it fall, and he's running hard, and then Richie has to hold him up. That's a smart play, because now you can bunt the guys over to second and third, have runners in scoring position with two outs instead of trying to get somebody thrown out at the plate.
I thought Ian was moving pretty well for a guy who's, the lower part of his left hamstring's been bothering him a little bit.
Well, that's why he missed the game on Saturday in San Diego. You get a little bit of treatment, one of those instances where the training staff and Keith Duggar just thought it'd be better if we can give him a day off, get some extra treatment on there, that it wouldn't become a big problem. But if you run him and keep running him out there and eventually wears down a little bit, that's when you get the pulls.
Augie Ojeda is 30 feet from De La Rosa. And now coming home is Stewart. The throw is wild, and the Rockies get another run. How about that play by Ian Stewart? Richie Dower had walked over and said something to him out of range of Augie Ojeda. So Ojeda makes the play, but he was creeping so far down the line that Stewart can go down as far as Ojeda.
Well, exactly, because of where the runners are. You got a runner at first, so second base has got to go over there. Shortstop's going to second base. Notice where Ojeda is. He takes a peek right now. He's looking back that way, right at the runner. And then when he goes to throw, that's when Ian Stewart decides that I can go ahead and go, put the pressure on Mark Reynolds to make the good throw.
De La Rosa with his second RBI. It's 3-0 Colorado. Dexter Fowler up, runner in scoring position.
And this is just textbook base running, because he gave a glance back, saw that there was nobody coming over to third base, so he goes ahead and just follows Augie Ojeda down the line, and then once he lets go of it, he just basically walks home.
One on Dexter.
That's just heads up base running. Heads up base running from Ian Stewart to realize where everybody is on the field. That's not something that Richie Dower can really relate to him, other than the fact that, hey, if he lays it down, he stays up there, be ready to go. But that's just an instinct play.
Here's the 1-1 to Fowler. 2-1. It's time to go outside the box with Jack in the box. Well, Doug Davis early in the season, first pitch of the ball game to Dexter Fowler, and he hits it out. His first career home run. It's brought to you by Jack in the Box. Right now, try the mini Buffalo Ranch style wins. This ball is well hit to left, and he's done it again. Dexter Fowler. He hasn't hit one in a while. 2 of his 4 career home runs against Doug Davis, and it's 5-0.
Talk about jumping on a curveball. That's what he did. That ball just went down to the sweet spot of his swing. Dexter opened that front hip, but the extension, the head drop, everything was just aligned perfectly to hit it out.
Barmes to Ojeda. And and that'll get Arizona to the dugout. But the Rockies, who had 2 in the first, add 3 in the second. They have a 5-0 lead. Dexter Fowler with his 4th career big fly. 2-run shot.
Maybe high A or double A. You know, I just feel like there's kind of an advantage to that. I feel it helps me close the glove a little bit better. You know, when you have your 2 gloves in this, or 2 fingers in this part of the glove, you know, you're really able to squeeze the glove together with your thumb and those 2 fingers. So I just feel like when I can really squeeze that part of the glove together, you know, the ball has a better chance of staying in the glove.
We'll get a number of tips tonight from Ian Stewart on playing third base. Doug Davis is at the plate. Now, you told me earlier you didn't do it in the infield, you did it in the outfield.
In the outfield to get that, but what he means is sticking these 2 fingers right here into the very last slot of the glove. So you get the different feel, and then you just slide all your other fingers over 1 notch. Okay, so you're over here, so it closes more in this range right here. Whereas before, if you put all your fingers like they're normally supposed to be, you'll get a smaller opening, a smaller place for the ball to go into.
Now, why did you prefer to do that in the outfield, not the infield?
Just because of the way the glove is shaped in the outfield. More of a glove that's a little bit longer, more angular, so it'll close that way. I just felt like it was easier if I hit the ground that the ball would stay in. For the infield, for me, it was just a fact that I just wanted to use this kind of as a backstop, just a transfer point. But that's what's neat about having that as we see the strikeout from Jorge De La Rosa. But these are great tips for other kids to have, that, you know, what works for one person, what worked for me, may not work for Ian, but it works for him. So whatever tip you can take out of it at home, try it, especially for a young kid, because their hands aren't quite as strong.
I'll tell you what, you'll also find with the 2 in the pinky, it is easier to break in a glove.
Yes, it is.
Because it is easier to close. You're stronger that way.
Yep. Clint Barmas also does it that way.
I was just going to mention that. Barmas is another guy that has 2 in the pinky, and so the middle 2, other than the finger on top, not in the glove. You know what? Something else. If we come on camera here after this pitch, I want to point something else out where, and it's a personal preference. You had the glove flip over like this. There's a lot of infielders, especially, that never had the glove folded over. They always put it down like that.
Well, and that's what yeah, you did. You just touched my glove.
I'm sorry. I didn't even want to teach anything there. I just wanted to point something out so I could touch it.
Yeah, you're right, though. During a game, this is the way I would set it, just like that, and then I'd put my hat on top of it so it would get messed up.
What about your sunglasses?
Oh, I wasn't that. I had the flip downs. I wasn't that cool.
Yeah. Well, I knew that. Here's the 1-1. 2-1 on Stephen Drew. Drew struck out on a slider. Struck out on 3 pitches beginning the ball game. And he swings at a 94-mile-an-hour fastball that he'd need a 48-inch bat to hit.
Yeah, or a boat paddle, one of the two, because that was about the only way he was going to reach this. Four-seamer outside part of the plate and just keeps riding away. Just able to catch it. So far, Stephen Drew has not looked comfortable against Jorge De La Rosa.
And he went to a changeup, and that was, as we like to refer to it, the emergency hack.
Yeah, one will see Todd Helm pull out quite frequently, and Stephen Drew just got enough of it to foul it off.
Stephen spent the All-Star break in his hometown of Ahira, Georgia. About an hour and 15 minutes from Florida State in Tallahassee, where he went to school. So did JD. JD's 8 years older than Stephen. So if you're wondering, hey, did they play much growing up together? No, they really didn't. He was the kid tagging along. And even Tim is 5 years older. So, you know, Tim and JD played a little bit together, but Stephen was the little brother.
Tim, former #1 pick as a pitcher.
And this ball is hit foul and up into the third deck. Tim is now, for those wondering, because he spent a little bit of time in the Rockies organization a few years back, Tim is going to school again at Michigan State University, and his wife is a doctor. It's a residency program in Michigan. Swung on and missed, got him on another slider. And a strikeout number 4 for De La Rosa.
Well, I like the sequence of pitches from Chris. He went to the changeup fastball and then got him back with the slider, the one he struck him out in the first inning with.
Time for our Quest high-speed pitch, brought to you by Quest high-speed internet. Doug Davis does not throw hard. 88-mile-an-hour fastball tonight. Jorge De La Rosa has hit 95. 2 strikeouts in the inning. Ryan Roberts at the plate. And Roberts takes down an in-ball 1. Roberts hit a fly ball to center field his first time. You know, you and I have had this discussion. You and I, George, have had this discussion many times, probably a little bit on the air, but frequently off the air. The difference with the Rockies this year in their rotation, Jorge De La Rosa is thrown out of the 5-hole. He's your 5th starter. He does not have 5th starter stuff.
No, he doesn't, and that's what makes it so intriguing to have a guy like that. Because a lot of times your 5th starter is a guy that might be up and down every once in a while from AAA. You're trying to find out if he can get you through it, but doesn't have electric stuff. Well, Jorge does, and it's nice when you have other guys that you think when he goes out there, well, 6 innings or so is good enough.
This ball's hit well to center field. Fowler is not going to be able to catch up, and it's a ground rule double for Ryan Roberts. Second hit of the ball game for Arizona. Their first hit was a 30-foot infield single by Justin Upton.
Fastball just right over the middle part of the plate. And very strong follow through and a little helicopter at the end with that bottom hand. Hit right off the warning track and hopped up over the fence for that ground rule double.
And it's staying there.
Yep.
Upton legged out a hit and reached second base when De La Rosa decided to throw the ball, and he threw it into right field. First pitch in there for a strike.
But then they did the wise thing by walking Reynolds after he fell behind 2-0 to go to left on left with Parr and got him to ground out.
And since that time, the Rockies have scored 5 runs. They're up 5-0. Ball's inside, 1-1.
Well, so far what's made Jorge effective is 8 of 12 first pitch strikes against the D-backs.
2 balls and a strike on Upton, who has really swung the bat well against lefties this year. 375. Got a wild one for you. In his career, Upton really has been held at bay by the Rockies pitching staff. He has not done a ton of damage against Colorado Rockies pitching.
I think if you use that fastball inside on Upton, he's a lot like a lot of guys that like to get extended with their bat. But if you can work in underneath those hands and elevate the ball, you can get it.
And a broken bat roller to Barmes. Upton is retired. Roberts left at second after doubling. De La Rosa pitching very well. Rockies up 5-0. First time, he takes a heater on the outside corner for a strike. And Todd lifts it down the left field line. The wind's going to blow it into the seats. 0-2 on Helt. Great Monday night crowd. Looking out. Straightaway center field. The rock piles filled up. Oh, look at the seats up in right field behind the foul pole. The third deck on a Monday.
How neat is that? They just understand that the Rockies are playing some great baseball.
They should be coming out. They're entertaining. They're good. And they're right in the thick of things. You know, the Rockies so far this year have averaged more than 30,000 per ball game. It's one of the better marks in the National League. We all understand how difficult this economy is right now. Todd takes down low 1-2. Here's where the at-bat really starts from. So Todd gets behind 0-2. Now, Davis is going to try to do like any pitcher. He's going to try to get him to maybe swing at something out of the zone. Well,
expand the zone.
Good luck.
Yeah.
Two and two. And immediately he's back even in the count.
Well, just that early pitch recognition that we've talked about before. He just sees the ball quicker. His brain processes it faster than other guys. No other way to explain it.
2-2. And now it's 3-2. And now who's in the driver's seat?
Number 1-7.
Doug Davis kind of felt like 1-7 may have been in the driver's seat when he was 0-2.
When he stepped in the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hop on deck. Helton leading off the third. And ground ball toward the hole, cut off by Reynolds. One out. Let's check in again with Alana Rizzo. Hey, Alana.
Hey, Drew, thanks very much. I know we've told this story before, but I feel it's a story that bears repeating. Doug Davis was diagnosed with thyroid cancer in March of 2008. He had surgery in April 10th of 2008, and after surgery, he had a radioactive iodine treatment to kill the rest of the cancer. Doctors gave him 4 to 6 weeks to recover and said he would be 97% cancer-free. After a battery of tests, it was found out that he was cancer-free. He returned to the Diamondbacks roster and pitched on May 23rd, 2008, just a couple of months after surgery against the Atlanta Braves. He pitched 7 innings, allowing only 1 run, striking out 5, and an 11-1 win for Arizona. But I don't care if he would have given up 20 runs, 16 walks to come back from cancer and having the surgery to be able to pitch again in the major leagues, much like John Lester did with the Boston Red Sox, is truly a remarkable feat, guys.
Yeah, remarkable feat, remarkable story. And that's ball 2-0 on Brad Hopp. And just a quick addendum to Alana's story. He not only pitched very quickly after the thyroid cancer surgery, he pitched when he knew the surgery was coming up. He pitched right up until the date that he was going in. It's on the inside corner, 2-1.
It just shows you the strength of the human will and how you look at things in life. And what a story, what an inspiration, not only for the Diamondbacks, but for all of baseball and all of humanity.
Two and two. On this, the 40th anniversary of man walking on the moon. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins. Here's the 2-2. Outside, 3-2. Collins just got to drive the ship and orbit the moon while Armstrong and Aldrin.
That's still a pretty good gig, though.
Yeah, it was a pretty good gig. Armstrong and Aldrin got to prance around. Inside, ball 4 on Brad Hopp. Time for our decks. This date in history. Well, July 20th, 1969. San Francisco's Gaylord Perry hits his first big league home run 20 minutes after learning that Neil Armstrong had set foot on the moon. The previous year, Giants manager Alvin Dark says about Gaylord, there'll be a man on the moon before he hits a home run. He was right. That's a great one, isn't it?
That is.
I'm sure many of you at home going, they made that up.
We didn't.
Well, even if we did, it's entertaining. Tulowitzki drags a bunt, and it's going to go foul. Great idea. If he gets that fair, Augie Ojeda's going to have to eat the baseball. I mean, Augie's well behind the bag. If your windshield has any damage, call Colorado's #1 team, Elite Safelite Auto Glass, 303-287-5000, online at safelight.com. Rockies won their 50th ball game of the year yesterday, second fastest to 50 wins in franchise history. Back in '95, they did it in 91 ball games. Yesterday was their 92nd ball game. Runner going, and Carlin's throw is not going to get Brad Hopp. So the Rockies 2 for 2 running on left-hander Doug Davis, and that's the first bag of the year for Brad Hopp.
Brad tried to steal one in San Diego the other day. This time, once again, just went first movement off of Davis. Luke Carlin tried to come up and make the throw, sweep tag. Roberts tried to sell it. DJ Rayburn out at second base. Didn't even come up and tag him, though.
Now, Huey is a former base stealer. If the Rockies pick something up that they're being so aggressive, particularly with a guy who's not normally going to steal bases in Brad Hopp, or is there a different strategy being employed?
I think it's a different strategy. The first one was with Clint Barmas, that he just decided to go after he'd throw over one time. Well, with Brad Hopp's not known for any sort of base stealing ability, so you just roll the dice. You're up 5-0. Why not go ahead, say go first movement? of course, Luke Carlin now 0 for 5 without throwing out a runner.
Tulowitzki 2 RBIs on a double in the first. Got a ribby out there in Brad Hop. Rockies enjoying a 5-0 lead as they bat in the bottom of the third. Trying to go 9 games over 500 for the first time this year.
Hey, Coors Field is a great place for group outings. Groups of 25 or more receive discounted pricing, scoreboard recognition, and other great benefits. Call 303 Rockies for more information. Rockies in a group outing. Doesn't get any better than that.
Outside, 3-2. 3 straight hitters have worked the count to 3-2. The next pitch will be the 60th for Doug Davis. And Arizona came to town after the Felipe Lopez deal. They did bring up Ryan Roberts, who's in the lineup, but they have only 4 guys on their bench. They're carrying an extra pitcher. A.J. Hinch, he's seeing the picture there saying, you know what, when we go to Coors Field, I'd rather have the extra pitcher.
And a lot of times you'll see clubs do that.
Down low, and Tulowitzki will jog to first.
This just kind of follows that pattern of what happened to Doug Davis in his last outing against St. Louis. Only went 4 innings through 99 pitches in that ball game. That's why he's going to get a visit from Mel Stottlemyre, their pitching coach. It's 60 pitches, and this is where the Rockies have been very good at implementing Don Baylor's plan, going up there and being very patient, make him throw a pitch over the zone. If you start chasing, well, it's going to be a short night for us, and he's going to have all the power out on the hill. But instead, the Rockies have said, no, if it's not there, I'm not swinging.
Stewart doubled and scored last inning. He lashed one to right center field and rolled all the way to the wall. 2 on for Ian here against Doug Davis. You know what I'm seeing, Huey, and you tell me if you're seeing the same thing. A guy that right now, and I know Davis has been around a long time, he's had a lot of success, but he doesn't want to throw the ball over the plate.
Yeah, he's a little bit frightened of throwing it over there because you've seen what's happened so far with some of the doubles, the home run, balls hit hard. And he's just really trying to hit a perfect spot.
And he's not. 2-0.
Well, and then the other thing too is Paul Immels. He's a veteran umpire. He understands that even though you got a veteran out on the hill as Doug Davis, that he is not going to give him a lot of the plate if he is not around it. So even that last pitch, Doug Davis wanted it, but he's not going to get it because he's been, ball 1, ball 2.
And he didn't get that. It's 3-0. And now 63 pitches in. You look up on the big board, and there's 32 in the strike zone, 31 out of the strike zone. That's not a winning ratio.
No, and we see Jason Marquis yesterday. I mean, he threw 97 pitches, 65 for strikes, or 66 for strikes.
Yeah, the former Brave Blaine Boyer is up. Ball 4, and now the bases are loaded for Seth Smith. The Rockies really have a chance to put up a crooked number here. Up 5-0, 1 out in the third. Bases jammed for one of their hottest hitters, Seth Smith, who lined to right his first time up. 4 walks in the game for Davis.
Davis is going out of the windup now after not having success out of the stretch.
That didn't help any. He bounced it to the plate. 1-0. I give the Rockies a lot of credit. not over anxious at the plate.
No. You know, we've seen that occasionally when you think going into the game that you need to be patient with the guy that'll go up swinging the one or first two pitches. Not tonight. They've been very, very patient.
And that's in there. 1 ball and 1 strike. Rockies have a home run tonight, a 2-run shot from Dexter Fowler. They've out-homered the opposition the last 10 ball games, 13-2.
Seth with the bases loaded this year, 2 for 4. Rockies as a team, 348.
And that average will go up here. This is a tweener to left center field. 1 run is scored. A second run will come around, and then the Rockies almost ran themselves into an out. Seth Smith didn't realize that Stewart had to stop because everybody froze for a moment to make sure that Chris Young couldn't catch up with that baseball. So it goes as a long single. 2 more RBIs for Seth Smith, and the Rockies lead it 7-0. And that will be all for Davis.
Yeah, you keep falling behind, and you're eventually going to fall off the cliff, and that's what Doug Davis did. The ball away from Seth Smith. And think back to a couple weeks ago when he went to that longer bat, the heavier bat, the 34-ouncer. Now, all of a sudden, that ball gets into the gap. 2 runs are able to score, and Ian Stewart really kind of hesitated going around second. Wasn't sure what was going to happen. And Seth was almost all the way to second base. And fortunately, that throw went to home. He was allowed to go back to first base. And now we'll see Boyer come out and relieve Davis.
So Davis gone after 2 1/3. Rockies up a touchdown.
Easily trots home. Troy Tulowitzki follows him up. Ian Stewart with the ball in front of him, he has to stop. He can't go all the way over to third base. Well, Seth Smith's right on his heels. He has to put on the brakes almost about 5 to 7 feet away from second. But because the throw went home, able to put on the brakes, get all the way back to first base, so you still didn't run yourself out of the inning.
So Blaine Boyer on for the 27th time. Boyer with Atlanta and St. Louis. This year picked up when he was released by the Cardinals. And Iannetta hits it in the air to right field. Upton makes the catch. Tagging is Stewart, and he moves to third. Well, good news for everybody hungry. Everybody looking for a convenient meal tomorrow afternoon, and an inexpensive one. The Rockies have scored 7 runs, so tomorrow go to participating Colorado Taco Bell locations between 4 and 6. Feed your fever with 4 tacos for $1 with the purchase of a drink. Great deal. De La Rosa at the plate. And De La Rosa drops a base hit in the left. What not? And here's Smith trying to go first to third. And he's out. Don't understand that. He's already in scoring position. What an RBI single for De La Rosa. The Rockies lead it 8-0.
Get a little footwork going, a little foot movement here, so then I can just react either way.
Well, the reason why he does it that way too, stands up a little bit taller. He's a big kid. So if you'll see smaller guys out there, they'll usually start a little bit lower. But the key thing, what he said, folks, is when you make that first movement, lateral left to right, don't stand up, because that'll kill you. You lose all your range. You stand up, what do you have to do to go get the ball? You got to go back down.
But a quick coaching point, when you're coaching young kids, I think too often the hands on the knees and low, you don't have lateral movement that way. You don't have lateral quickness, and plus kids get rigid when they stand that way and waiting for whether it be the coach pitch or when they advance and it's kid pitch.
Right. All right, that's a very good point to make. You want to make sure that you have them somewhere.
This ball's hit a long way by Reynolds and gone. Mark Reynolds with a home run. That's not foreign territory for him. His 25th of the year. And it's a solo shot, so it's 8-1.
Well, that's part of the reason why Jim Tracy, remember, he walked him intentionally back in the first inning, because he didn't want this. He didn't want the opportunity for Reynolds to hit a ball out there, and all of a sudden they're up 2-0 before the Rockies even hit. Now it's 8-1. You go ahead, you throw the pitch there. Yeah, he hit it out. You got to tip your cap, but you still got a 7-run lead.
That pitch to Hara is in, ball one. That's the first home run that a Rockies starting pitcher has given up in 10 starts.
Yeah.
Think about that.
That's amazing.
I'll tell you something else about how frugal the Rockies have been in giving up home runs. As a club, they've given up the third fewest home runs among their starting pitchers in the National League, to the Dodgers and the Braves. The Rockies have allowed 48 home runs now, 47 coming in. The Dodgers starting pitching had allowed 45. The Braves starting pitching had allowed 45. The Dodgers play later on tonight at home against Cincinnati, and Atlanta is leading 11-3. Good news against the Giants, because I hadn't picked up on that. The Giants led that ball game, I think 3-0 or 2-0
It was
early.
2-0 early, yes.
So now Atlanta putting a hurting on the Giants. So you do the math. If the Rockies win and the Giants don't have an unbelievable comeback in the 9th inning in Atlanta, the Rockies will flip-flop and move into second place and ahead everybody else in the wild card race. 3-1 on Parra. And this ball hit hard and into center field for a base hit. That'll bring up Chris Young. It'll also take us to our Affleck trivia question.
Affleck!
Todd Helton needs 1 double to become the 50th player with 500 doubles. Who is the all-time leader? And as you ponder that, it is not the pitching coach going out to the mound right now. It is Jim Tracy, the manager.
I like this. He's the one that wants to deliver the message. So what? You gave up a home run. You fell behind a Parra. That's why he got the base hit. Okay, refocus right now. This isn't about mechanics. This isn't anything other than let's go. Get that head right again.
Yeah, I'm a big one on that also. Sometimes the message needs to be delivered by the boss.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot more from that. The guy that has MRG behind his name. No matter what you're doing out on the field.
Rocky's got 8 runs against Doug Davis. That's the most he's given up in a game since 2006.
It goes back to a few of the plays that they didn't make, too. They could have got out of that 1 inning back in the first if they would have made the double play without giving up any runs. And he walked 3 guys. All 3 of those came around to score last inning.
I got a question for you. I have a lot of them.
Yeah, another one?
I'm just going to ask one right now. What's going on with Chris Young?
Yeah, 198 average. Only 6 home runs.
And he pops it up right side. Clint Barmas searching the sky for it. He has it, and that is the first out in the top of the 4th inning.
Hey, draft your own lineup. 15-game mini plans are now available. You choose the 15 games you want to attend and get the August 10th game against the Chicago Cubs free. Mini plans include postseason ticket rights. Call 303-ROCKIES or go online to ColoradoRockies.com to order yours today.
You ever seen Luke Carlin's Hippy Dippy Weatherman?
No. I missed that one.
Here's the 1-0 line drive, and Tulowitzki has it.
Wise play just to hold on to it once you caught the line drive. Or when that ball's hit in front of you as a base runner, you take a couple steps, read where they are, and then don't run into an out. Carlin hit the ball hard. Tulo thought about throwing over there, but the smart base running, and then the heads-up play from Troy not to even try it.
Augie Ojeda at the plate, 2 outs. 8-1 Colorado in the 4th. And a comeback. Nice play by. They'll run it over there. Go underhand.
There we go.
Nice job by De La Rosa. Solo home run by Mark Reynolds. Middle of 4, 8-1 Colorado.
player with 500 doubles, who is the all-time leader.
In doubles?
Yeah.
Really good player by the name of Tris Speaker.
Hall of Fame, Tris Speaker.
Dexter Fowler, a strikeout and a 2-run home run. His first home run in 111 at-bats. And 2 of his 4 career home runs at the expense of Doug Davis.
The first pitch he saw, and then that was a fastball, so he said, this time I'm going to do it on a curveball.
1-1 on Dexter. He's got 2 home runs lefty, 2 home runs righty. Boyer fooled him there, 1-2. On the all-time doubles list, by the way, Pete Rose number 2 at 746. Stan Musial with 725 third. Ty Cobb 4th. You know who's 5th? The guy we got to see produce his 3,000th career hit.
Biggio.
Craig Biggio. 668 doubles. What a player.
Second baseman, catcher, outfielder, second baseman, whatever you needed, he was the man.
Three and 2. One of my all-time favorite players. Played the game right, played it hard, played every day, never complained. Gosh knows how many injuries that guy played with.
Oh, yeah.
Same with that guy
and
right
not
there.
a huge guy either. Not a physically big guy.
Ball 4. Boyer walks Dexter Fowler. Clint Barman's coming up, and then Todd Helton. Now here are the guys that are right around 500. Todd Helton tied with Le Grand Orange, Rusty Staub, 499 doubles, and Goose Goslin at 500. Andre Dawson, the Hawk, with 503. Love to watch him play too. Did you guys overlap in Chicago?
No, played against him when he was with the Cubs. When I was a rookie, he was still.
Dexter takes off right away, and he's underneath the tag. So the Rockies 3 for 3 in the stolen base department tonight. And Dexter with 9 bags in his last 13 games. Remember, he went a long period between stolen bases?
Yeah, and now he's got that stolen base feeling back again. The Carlin 0 for 6 is trying to throw out runners. Just a jump, he puts his head down. This was no hit and run, there was nothing. He was just going with the, as soon as Boyer lifted his leg, he started to go home.
2-0 on Clint Barman.
Take a look again at the slide from the Hyundai cam. Roberts had to reach back behind the bag, and then he just goes directly into that foot, the foot right into the bag.
You know what? I think he was out.
He might have been out, but just the way he caught the ball and had to reach back behind where that leg was going, it gives the appearance that it's already in there for the umpire.
I didn't see a big argument either. Is that a byproduct of being 14 games under 500?
Well, and also you got a utility guy out there, a guy that hasn't played all the time. He just came up first start back at the big leagues for a while. I think if it's Clint Barmas or somebody else that's been up there every single day, has a little bit more of a name, he might argue a little bit more.
Three and 1 on Barmas. Nobody out. That's strike 3 and 2. And back up the middle. Roberts makes a tremendous play. Barmas beats it. An infield hit. That saved a run. Good play by Ryan Roberts. That gets to the outfield. Dexter Fowler obviously will score easily. First and third, nobody out for Todd Helton.
Well, you can tell this whole at bat, Clint was trying to go to the right side, still playing the game the right way to get that runner over to third base. Roberts reaches all the way across his body and makes a strong throw. Even if it's on the money, Clint with the wheels down to first base, able to beat it out. But it did save a run, but at the same time, I mean, that's just a smart play from Clint, trying to hit the ball to the right side, and a good play from Roberts.
Yeah. It saved the run, hopefully temporarily. Boyer backs off the mound to go to his mouth. And
the other thing, too, is Mark Reynolds over at first, he was playing back behind the runner. They still wanted to hold the runner on. And so that's why Boyer stepped off, to not allow Clint just to take off.
Again, is that a little bit of inexperience playing first base? This ball is ripped to right. Told you it was a temporary thing. Barmes around second. He'll go to third. Upton has no throw. Fowler scores the Rockies' 9th run. Todd Helton has his 58th RBI. All is well with the world at 20th at Clayton.
And this is what you have to do. When you have a club down like you have Arizona right now, you keep attacking them, you keep going after them, keep putting the pressure on. Just a flat slider that just stays up in the zone. Todd sticking his tongue out a little bit like Michael Jordan before he goes to hit. Hits it in the right field. Dexter comes home easily, and now this is what you've done. We talked about it a couple nights ago, Drew, in the fact that home runs, those are glorious, but also singles and doubles, you're right back to where you were just a second ago. You got a base hit, but you're still back to first and third. This puts more pressure on a ball club than, say, a quick 2-run home run and then nobody's on.
Keeps the pitcher in the stretch.
Oh, it does.
Brad Hopp is 0 for 1 and a walk. He has scored 2 runs. He also has a stolen base, hitting .324. Infield back up the middle. And Hopp with a ground ball to second. There's one. And the throw to first is not in time. They didn't even turn that. And Hopp with his hustle earns an RBI, his 62nd of the year, as Barmes scores, and the Rockies are into double figures. 10-1 they lead.
Well, another opportunity for the Diamondbacks to get out of this. 2-hopper from Hopp, hit pretty hard. Roberts, when he goes to throw to second base, doesn't get all the way squared around. Notice how it pulls Stephen Drew way off the bag, and it takes him a lot longer to get rid of the baseball. And then Brad's able to get down there and get the RBI.
What's going on here? They call him. You know what? They called
Hopp
Hopp out.
No, they called
interference on Helton on the
Helton,
slide.
Helton was too far out at second base, and Clint has to go back to first. We'll get another look at that to see how far out he is from second. Well, the same angle we just had just a second ago. When you clear yourself from the bag, you have to be able to reach back with your hand. You know what? That's a good call. That's a good call, because Todd could not reach back with his hand and get second base. One more look at this. When he gets ready to slide, folks, notice how far out he is. He's got to be able to reach the bag with his hand. And by the time he slides, he's 3-4 feet away. That was a good try.
You get an A for effort, but it is a good call. So Barmes goes back to third. It is 9-1. Tulowitzki at the plate, and he takes inside. Troy, a 2-run double in the first, and then he walked and scored in the third.
Well, even without that RBI for Brad Hopp, the Rockies are still 7 for 11 with runners in scoring position.
That's very good.
Yep.
Two and one on Tulowitzki. Outfield very deep for Troy. balls, 2 strikes. Troy had an 8-game hitting streak, season best snapped on Saturday night in San Diego. And this ball is hit on the line to Upton, who reaches up and makes the catch. It was hit hard, good play by Upton. In the inning, the Rockies get a run. They lead it 9-1.
Or this way, I know that it's just a couple steps this way, and I have to dive as well.
Jorge De La Rosa will face Josh Whitesell. He's called back to the big leagues for the 3rd time. He will pinch hit for Blaine Boyer, and he takes a strike. 4 lefties on the bench offensively for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Whitesell is one of them. The dive came into play quite a bit over the weekend.
It did, and that's where knowing your positioning is so important, because you understand where you are on the field. And right now, on this play, he realizes that it's just a step and a dive, and he comes up and then makes a strong throw. I mean, that also helps to have a strong arm. But I like what he had to say about the positioning, knowing where you are on the field. If he's far enough away from the line, it's 2 steps, and by that is probably about 15 or 16 feet is where he positions himself from the line. And then it also helps to know where your shortstop is. Okay? So right now, Ian is a little bit further over. He's probably more in the 20-foot range off of the line at third base with the left-handed hitter.
2 hops at Helton, and Whitesell is erased. How much communication, especially with a right-handed bat, because a shortstop should be able to read signs.
Yeah.
Third baseman can't, letting him know is something off speed.
It's huge. It is very huge, and it's just a small thing. I mean, you might not say his name or anything. You might just give a little bit of a whistle, like, you know, hey. And he's the only one that can hear it, and you give it as the pitcher's going into his stretch or his windup, so that way the third base coach cannot relay the sign. And it helped me immensely when I was playing third base to know when a changeup or curveball was coming. So I don't want to say doubly prepared, but I was really mentally going, okay, this ball has a good chance of being hit to me. So I always make sure, as a shortstop, I let the third baseman know that be ready right now, because it might happen.
Stephen Drew hits a high fly ball to shallow right center. Brad Hopp and Dexter Fowler in the neighborhood. It'll be Fowler.
A couple of innings ago, we showed how Ian Stewart said he prepared, how he got ready for a ball when it crossed the plate. First, you get rid of the the bubble. You throw a big bubble out there, but it's just a shuffle of the feet going back and forth. And then as the ball's hit, then you realize, oh, okay, I don't have to move. Other guys will walk into it being right foot, left foot, boom, and you're down into that position. Other guys, as he said, he likes to just shuffle. I was a walking guy into my setup. Clint Barmas, for me, it's a little bit different when you play the middle. Clint will start to walk into his setup. 1-2. Just caught a brief look at that, but however you get into that fielding position, that's all that matters when that ball's crossing the plate.
1-2-3 inning for Jorge De La Rosa. As Ryan Roberts hits one to center field. 9-1 Rockies. And is brought to you by your Colorado Hyundai dealers. Now at Hyundai Assurance, buy any new Hyundai and get a whole year's worth of gas for $1.49 per gallon. By Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Dex, take the sport out of finding local information with Dex and printing online at dexknows.com. And by Burt Chevrolet, where the 09 Chevy Silverado Crew Cab 4x4 is only $25,995. We go to the bottom of the fifth inning. The Rockies leading 9-1. Drew Goodman, Jeff Hewson, and Alana Rizzo. This call to the pen is brought to you by Comcast Digital Home Phone Service. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 800-COMCAST. And the new pitcher is Leo Rosales.
Rosales.
Yeah.
We'll get back together with Alana tomorrow.
You know what?
Pay attention in class.
You guys were so close. It's Rosales. Lionel Rosales. Come on, did I not teach you anything?
Well, you know what? You went with the Lionel, but his good friends call him Leo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're trying to do like a New York accent. We're like, Leo Rosales.
Yeah, Leo Rosales.
Leo Rosales.
There you go. I feel like we're on the set of West Side Story, which is enjoying a New York Broadway revive.
I've not seen that one on Broadway, but
you're
going when the Rockies are in New York.
We'll check that out.
Well, Leo, fastball, change-up, slider type pitcher. Just came back up from Reno on July 11th.
One and two on Ian Stewart. A double and a walk in the ball game. He has scored 2 runs. Down this lineup, there's only 3 players who have not scored. Helton has driven in a run, has not scored. Seth Smith has 2 RBIs, has not scored. Jorge De La Rosa has 2 RBIs, if not scored. Rockies pitching staff leading the National League in batting average, leading the National League in RBIs. And Jason Marquis, who won his 12th ball game yesterday, had a couple of RBIs. He's got 8 to lead the staff. Changeup missed. It's 3-2.
Well, it helps when you can help your own cause. And I really believe these guys are just feeding off of each other, too. They're watching each other and how they pitch.
Strike 3. That'll bring up Seth Smith. Time for our Excel Energy fun fact. The Rockies are one of 3 National League teams with a winning record at home and on the road. The Cardinals and the Dodgers, naturally, are the other 2. And that's something. The Rockies, this late in the season, have never been in that category. And this ball is hit a long way foul on the line. So Seth Smith will come back. Something else on that note, we mentioned off the top of the broadcast, the Rockies, along with the Pirates, have played the fewest home games in the National League. And traditionally, the Rockies play well above 500 at Coors Field. So if they can keep it going on the road and then keep it going at home, they're 16-6 their last 22 at home. Just really bodes well for the second half.
He doesn't see it.
No, you know what? Upton doesn't see it, but that's good because Chris Young is closer to the baseball. So 39 of the final 70 ball games this year will be played at Coors Field, including 19 in September and the beginning of October.
Yeah, right down that stretch run. You keep it going, and then you have that opportunity to play in front of your home crowd in September when it means something. Well, we saw that back in '07.
Ryan fouls this off. Chris had a single and scored a run back in the second. He's 1 for 2.
The Rockies Conference Center at Coors Field is available for all your game day or non-day game meetings. Groups of 25 to 200 will enjoy the views of the city as well as the ball field from this unique meeting place. Call 303-312. The Rockies for more info.
This is launched to left, and it got over the wall. That thing just stayed in the air and snuck over the wall. Home run, Chris Iannetta, his 11th. And that's his first big fly in a while. Second of the night for the Rockies, and now it is 10-1.
We saw Chris hit a double like this earlier this year where it hit the padding of the wall. But this time he doesn't hit the padding. He hits a chair right behind the wall, and that's why it bounced back so quickly. I mean, this ball was in the stands and then back out. I think Cam going over the wall will get a good look at this, and right off that back railing, the guy in the orange didn't even have time to turn around again.
It's his first home run since June 20th against the Pirates, a span of 59 at bats for Chris.
Got out of here in less than 2 seconds. I mean, that ball was hit, home run.
I was about to call it a double. I mean, the ball never got more than about 10 feet off the ground. You know what? Stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it. De La Rosa is 2 for 2 and a sac bunt, 2 RBIs. What's going on?
Well, I mean, he only had 1 hit coming into tonight. It was just 1 for 28 prior to this ball game. At 0:36.
He had the 3rd worst batting average among pitchers in baseball coming into the ball game, but that's skyrocketing right now.
Chris is saying, yeah, I hit that ball really hard, Brad, and it got out. I'm really good.
Slowly hit to second. Roberts throws out Fowler. Rockies done in the 5th inning. but they continue to score. They have scored in every inning of the ball game. 2, 3, 3, 1, and a big one from Chris Iannetta. 10-1 Colorado. One, Alana Rizzo with tonight's great Colorado Payback Sideline Report. Hi, Alana.
Hi, Drew. This one doesn't have any Spanish in it, but nonetheless, it's fun to talk to Justin Upton earlier today about his experience at the All-Star game. He said, you know what, it went by so fast. They had us doing so many things, but my favorite experience was just sitting back and watching the home run derby. He goes, when the day of the game came, I was really nerve-wracked, wondering when I was going to get in, if I was going to get in. He said, but it was such an honor to be voted to the All-Star game by his peers. So Justin Upton, certainly a bright spot in an otherwise pretty dismal year for the Arizona Diamondbacks. Drew, back to you.
Yeah, it was a great moment in what has been a difficult season for the Diamondbacks, but a good year for this kid. And you forget, he is still a puppy.
Yeah, I mean, and you also have to not compete against your brother, but also compared to him a lot of times.
Outside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Justin's not yet 22. He has 217 career hits, the most among active players under the age of 23. The Reds' Jay Bruce is second on that list. And then a guy we'll see over the weekend, Pablo Sandoval, is third on that list of guys that have produced a fair number of hits before their 23rd birthday.
Yeah, Pablo, 331 average, 4th in the National League. Quite a player for the Giants.
2-1 on Upton. He's just 2 for his last 33 on the road. And an awful start to the season, and then really turned it around.
He's so gifted physically. Just a great athlete. Can do so many different things.
You know, the Affleck All-American games and the area code games, you know, some of those elite showcase games. He was invited when he was 14.
Wow. That's not fair.
This is popped up on the infield, and Ian Stewart catching a high pop, and now we'll go to an Ian Stewart fielding tip.
I just try to get in, and I may transfer here on a routine ground ball where, you know, a ball over here I may come up like that and do it, or backhand. You know, if it's a backhand, and I'll bring the glove up like that and then transfer up there.
What do you teach you?
Well, I always teach try to come right to my chest area and then separate there, because if you start to separate lower, then all of a sudden this front arm, the one you're going to take right towards your target, tends to be down towards the ground just a little bit too much. If you bring them both up here, now you're in a good athletic throwing position. So I always thought bring it right to the chest if you can on a routine ground ball, and this is where you get the separation.
And you teach stay low, stay compact.
Stay compact. Keep your legs up underneath you. If you start to stand up, then what happens? One of two things. You'll leave your arm behind, and then you'll try to rush your throw, and it just doesn't allow you to get in a good throwing position. Plus, your legs are your strongest part of your whole body. Everybody likes to think, oh, we're big, strong guys, big biceps, but it's actually your legs that help with your throwing.
Very good. 1 ball and 1 strike with 1 out on Mark Reynolds. A walk and a solo home run just over the wall and left. And Mark is 25th of the year. Reynolds out of the University of Virginia. Just talking a lot about Justin Upton. He's known Justin since he was a little kid.
That's still boggles my mind. 14th.
Yeah.
How about this home run, though? No doubt once it left the bat.
He doesn't have to get it right on the sweet spot to hit that. Here's the 1-2. We haven't talked a lot about De La Rosa. He's given up 1 run on 4 hits. Not only has he struck out 4 in the ball game, we've seen him in double-figure strikeouts before, but he's pounded the strike zone here.
And that's why he's had the success. And sometimes you get wrapped up in the strikeouts with Jorge. I think that you look at his, because he has that strikeout ability, but when he gets early outs or getting ahead in the count, doesn't have to do that.
And a strikeout of Reynolds, his 5th. 2 outs in the 6th. He's thrown 83 pitches, which is a pretty solid number.
Well, he just climbs the ladder. Chris put his glove up high, and that's exactly where Jorge made the throw. And from the Hyundai Cam, just straight 4-seamer. That's all he was trying to do. And Reynolds swung underneath it, trying to lift and separate, try to hit another home run.
He missed that pitch by 6 inches.
Yep.
94-mile-an-hour fastball. Looked like it had some cut on it, too. Here's Parra. Single and 2 trips, and he takes a strike. De La Rosa in the second half of last year, particularly the last 6-7 weeks, he was marvelous. With a win tonight, De La Rosa will have won 7 of his last 8. That's a pretty nice run.
Well, it is, too, considering his last start was back on July 8th against Washington. He came out of that relief appearance against the Braves. But he's had to sit for a little bit. He was skipped in the rotation to get it back on track for the other guys. So, I mean, he did a lot of work on the side with Bob Apodaca into the bullpen, some flat ground work, everything to stay sharp for this ball game, and he's come out and done that.
Two and 2 on Parra. Yeah, I think one of the members of any coaching staff that always seems to sit on a hot seat is the pitching coach.
Oh, yeah.
Staff not pitching well, an easy target is a pitching coach. But you know what? By the same token, when they are pitching well, you ought to step forward and say, the pitching coach done a nice job. And Bob Apodaca has done a tremendous job this year.
He has. I mean, it is a tough spot to be in because, as you mentioned, Drew, whatever happens, it seems like his role and how he goes about his work doesn't change whether they're doing good or bad. He still has to go out there, but it's how the guys perform out on the hill.
I'll give you a great example. The Rockies have never had a pitcher after the first day of the season be leading the league in victories, much less the big leagues. They do right now in Jason Marquis. And when you talk to Marquis, as this one's popped up by an edit territory, when you talk to Marquis, the first guy he credits for a great deal of his success this year is Bob Apodaca. And there is Jason Marquis leading the big leagues with 12 Ws. The Rockies lead the Arizona Diamondbacks 10-1. Against Davis, and he hit a 2-run home run in the second inning against Davis. That was the Frostproof Coors Light Freeze Can. Doug Davis is long gone in this affair. He went 2 1/3, gave up 8 earned runs on 6 hits. He walked 4, struck out 1. Clint Barmas will lead it off in the 6th inning. Leo Rosales with the fastball for a strike. How'd I do?
That was good.
You like that one?
Yeah, Lana's going to be proud.
Well, I'm working on it. Fouled off 0-2.
Alex Romero's taking over in center field now for Chris Young.
No, you know what? He's in right field. Chris Young's still out in center. So Upton has come out.
There's Alex.
That's in the dirt. 2-2. Clint went around. Well, if the Rockies can keep this thing going, Huey, where they score in every inning, they have a chance to be in the history books again. Since 1900, there have been 3 National League teams to score in all 9 innings. Now the Rockies, assuming they don't give up this 9-run lead, are only going to hit 8 times tonight. But the Rockies, one of the teams to score in all 9 innings. They did it back in '99, May the 5th in Chicago against the Cubs. This is lobbed to center field, and Chris Young has it. The Giants did it at Philadelphia in 1923. The Cardinals did it at Wrigley Field also in September of 1964. No American League team has ever scored in all 9 innings. 6 times. An American League team at home has scored in all 8 innings, the last being the Yankees in 2006.
No American League team.
No American League team. And Brad rolls one to second, and it's not going to happen tonight. Ryan Roberts throws out Hop. 1-2-3 inning. Rockies up 10-1 as we move on to the 7th at 20th and Blake. AT&T, the nation's fastest 3G network. AT&T, your world delivered. Jorge De La Rosa has retired 9 in a row as he deals with Chris Young here to begin the 7th inning. And you know what? He has retired 9 in a row since one Jim Tracy jogged to the mound after a home run and a base hit. Back in the 4th inning, Mark Reynolds led off with a home run, and then Parra had a sharp single to center. And Jim Tracy jogged to the mound, had a conversation, it was one of those one-way conversations with his starting pitcher De La Rosa. Since that time, 9 in a row set down by Jorge.
2 words, message delivered.
Yeah, I guess so.
And all 4 words, message received.
Message delivered and message received, which is important.
Yes.
You deliver the message.
Right.
But it's got to be received. 2-1 on the struggling Chris Young. And Young takes a strike, 2-2. I mean, you just tell by his approach at the plate. He's out front on everything.
Yeah,
it's like a guessing game going on.
It is. He's in not a good spot right now because that ball does not look very big, like a beach ball when you're going well. It looks like an aspirin coming up there. And you're just completely guessing, and you have no feel. You don't trust your hands. You don't feel good in the box, and sometimes even as a right-handed hitter, left-handed, you feel like you're on the wrong side of the plate. That's how bad things are sometimes. And
last year, Chris hit 248, 22 home runs, 85 driven in. A year before, he had 32 home runs. He's always been a high strikeout guy. He hasn't been a high average guy, but just 6 home runs below 200. 3-2. The Rockies have Joel Peralta throwing. And Arizona has action again in their bullpen with their pitcher due up 4th this inning as Merling Vasquez. Todd Helton makes the catch. Young is retired. That's 10 in a row. That'll bring up Luke Carlin.
Yeah, the first 10,000 fans through the gates on Tuesday, which is tomorrow, July 21st, will receive a Frontier Airlines mystery gift card with a value ranging from $5 to $500. You can get your tickets to this game against the Diamondbacks by calling 1-800-388-ROCK or online at ColoradoRockies.com. But go get it today. You don't want to miss out on that.
Luke Carlin, ground ball to short and a line drive to short. De La Rosa trying to even his record at 7-7. Slider for a strike. De La Rosa in his last start worked into the 7th inning, beating the Nationals. Gave up 3 runs in 6 1/3. Rockies scored 10 that evening. Curveball's high. Two, strike 3 on Carlin.
Just went back to the fastball to get him. One more look from a Hyundai cam. Just you see the grip on the ball. 4-seam fastball, 94 miles an hour, just right on the outside part of the plate. Chris frames it. Easy call for Paul Emmel.
That'll bring up Augie Ojeda. Ground ball to third, foul ball.
Oh, he's ready to throw.
Our tutor today at third base came up with the baseball. Stewart range into foul territory.
Good break on the ball. Just went on the other side of the bag. Playing a little bit closer now with the right-handed hitter up there. Just on the outside part. He was ready to throw it, though. And that's what you have to do. Be prepared until you hear the umpire say foul ball.
0-1 on Ojeda. On the ground, a second. 12 in a row now. Retired by Jorge De La Rosa. 103 pitches through 7 innings. Tremendous job for De La Rosa. 10-1 Colorado. Reuniting you with your money. By the Courtyard by Marriott on the 16th Street Mall. Ask about our hometown sports package. And by Tough Shed Storage Buildings and Garages. Only 1-800, call 1-800-BUY-TOUGH or visit them online at toughshed.com. Troy Tulowitzki at the plate. In the bottom of the 7th inning, the Rockies up 10-1. And the breaking pitch is in there for a strike. How about this? A crowd of 40,444 on a Monday night for the Rockies and Diamondbacks. 40,444. Well done, everybody. How about that?
It's special.
They're excited. They're energized by this team. Time for our Geico quote of the night. Neil Armstrong. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. And he uttered those words 40 years ago to the minute, 10:56 Eastern time, when he set foot on the moon in 1969 on this date. Strike 3 on Troy Tulowitzki. And they estimate, Huey, that 18% of the world's population, witnessed that live on television.
Did you?
I did. I was, as you were, 6 years old. And at the time, living in Huntington, Long Island, New York.
I was in Scottsdale, Arizona. I remember it.
Ian Stewart, 1 for 2 and a walk, scored a couple of runs. One of the wild things that I've read in the last couple of days about, the lunar landing and Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Michael Collins' mission. You realize that the footprints, they believe, are still there on the moon because there are no elements, there's no wind, there's no precipitation there that would erase the footprints. They believe that the footprints will last 1,000,000 years.
Vacuous environment is what it is.
There you go. I was looking for that term, but I would want to have you pass that one along.
Well, that's why I said
that's
it,
why
not
you're
you.
here. That's right. I'm going to stick to the Spanish tonight.
That's not going very well for you.
No, I know. Ball 4. Stewart goes to first. Doug Marino claiming he was only 3 months old at the time. Doug could have been 33 years old in 3 months and may not have remembered. No, Doug. Well, yeah, Doug's actually agreeing with me on that. 1 out, 1 on for Seth Smith. A 2-run single tonight, back in the 3rd inning. How about this in Los Angeles? Jason Schmidt took the baseball initially for the Dodgers. It's been a while, and he gave up 3 runs in the 1st inning against the Reds. But the Dodgers countered, and they got 4 off Micah Owings in the bottom of the 1st, so they lead 4-3.
They just need to leave Micah in there long enough so he can hit a home run or something.
Well, you know, Micah may give up a few, but he may also, like you said, get a couple back at the plate.
But it's been over 2 years since Jason Schmidt has made an appearance. $47 million 3-year deal.
This has popped up, and it may be playable down the left field line. It's a pretty good play by Ojeda.
Real good play.
I think it helps that he's a middle infield guy primarily.
Yep, because he was able to turn, run to a spot. Playing over a little bit with Seth Smith, the left-handed hitter, but he ranged far back there, realizing that he's going to be the only guy that has an opportunity to get to that ball.
Chris Ionetta at the plate. A single, a fly ball to right, and a home run, a bullet of a home run over the left field wall, his 11th of the year. First in the month of July for Chris. He has the ability to hit him in bunches. That one goes through the wickets. Ian Stewart will move up. Now, they have not been holding him on. The Rockies not looking to run, up 9 runs late. Here's the HR.
So how fast do you think that ball got out?
1.89
okay,
seconds.
We're going to check it. As soon as he hits it, I'll let you know. It was actually a little bit longer than that. 3.18 seconds.
Really?
Yeah. That's a long way to travel in 3.18 seconds, though.
That was quick. You know, Leo Rosales has done a very good job for Arizona eating up innings on a tough night. This is his 3rd inning of work. Two and two. Back into the crowd.
Well, he has done what A.J. Hinch needed him to do coming out of that bullpen. But Omar Quintanilla is up on deck to possibly hit for De La Rosa.
Two and two on Chris Ionetta. Stewart at second base after the wild pitch. And Iannetta strikes out against Rosales. 7 innings complete at 20th and Blake. The Rockies enjoying a 9-run advantage over the Diamondbacks.
You know, sometimes when we play catch, I'll just work on however I catch the ball and grab it out of my hand, I'll just throw it. Just because you got to get used to, you know, feeling the ball in your hand and you know, different seams, different grips. So I'll work on that before the game with playing catch. And sometimes right out of my hand, I'll know if it's going to tail or cut or sink. And, you know, good thing we got Todd over there because he picks everything. But, you know, if I could choose, I'd try to go 4-seam on every throw.
Some changes for the Rockies we'll tell you about in a moment. One we'll tell you right now. Joel Peralta is on the hill, and Chad Tracy is the pinch hitter in the pitcher spot for the Diamondbacks.
Well, what he's talking about, that 4-seam just like this. But it's key to go out there and just throw somehow, some way, whenever you grab it. You don't always have the opportunity to grab it across the 4 seams to make that good, strong throw. Troy Tulowitzki, we always see him gather himself and then take a little bit of time.
Well, this ball's launched to right center field by Tracy. It one hops the wall in right center field. Tracy has himself a leadoff double against Peralta.
Well, let me just finish real quick. With Troy, we always see him just really gather himself and then make the strong throw. And I talked to him about it. He is a guy that because he does that, he always tries to grab the 4 seams so it doesn't run on him, it doesn't cut on him. So he gets that true strong throw over to first base. So he'll take a little bit extra time to find those seams, and it's just something, just a lot of practice to get that down.
I would think a vast majority of the time, just to be quick, you're just trying to get some,
yes,
seam, you know,
one
any
seam,
part of a seam.
one seam somehow, some way, find it to get so you have at least this finger on one of these seams somewhere. It doesn't matter how you get it, and your fingers are going to be spread about that far apart. So if you grab it on the seam, even if it's that seam, you still have something to get the ball away.
0-1 on Stephen Drew. One more quick question on that. When you have a slow roller, I assume a lot of the time you're throwing a changeup.
Yeah, you are. What you do is you work underneath the baseball. If it's rolling, you try to get your hand up underneath it. If it's stopped, what you do is the ball's there, you try to grab it and put your hand and push the ball down into the ground. So then, yeah, you end up getting that changeup grip, and then you just throw it over to first base. Rule of thumb is if it's bouncing, use your glove. If it's flat on the ground, bare hand.
That's a fair ball. got on the line. It'll be back-to-back doubles and a run for Arizona. Stephen Drew with his 36th RBI as Chad Tracy scores 10-2.
Last couple times out, Peralta's been out there, just hasn't hit his location. Another instance where he missed his spot, but boy, that ball is right on the line. Gary Darling, the first base umpire, saw it the whole way.
From the changes, Carlos Gonzalez is in right field for Brad Hawk. Pitch in there for a strike. In the infield, Troy Tulowitzki's come out. Clint Barmas has moved from second to short, and Omar Quintanilla has come in at second base. Oh, and 2 on Roberts.
Check it.
He didn't go.
Nope. Joel does something a little bit different. He presets that split finger into his hand. He has it set right now, and when he goes up into his glove, he can either move it from there if he wants to go to the fastball or a slider, or just keep it.
He went to it there. And it's 2-2. Alex Romero on deck. In the air to right, Carlos Gonzalez has his great range, makes the catch. Tagging and moving to third is Drew. And again, we visit with Alana Rizzo. Alana?
Thanks very much, Drew. You and Huey were both mentioning earlier in the game about the scores between the Giants and the Dodgers. And we asked Jim Tracy earlier today about if scoreboard watching is human nature. He said, absolutely, because I would much rather be the one that is being chased than the one doing the chasing. He did say this, though. He said, thinking that you have to absolutely win the next 5 games or 6 games to move up in the division is absolutely counterproductive. So, of course, they're paying attention. And one guy that definitely does all the time is Troy Tulowitzki. I talked to him about it last week, and he says he absolutely pays attention because he needs to know how close they are. He can only control what the Rockies do on the field, but he wants to know what the Giants and Dodgers are doing as well, guys.
You know, I liked how honest, thanks Solana, how honest Jim was in response to that question, because some managers say, hey, there's 70 games left. We got to worry about our own business. This is ripped to right. And coming home is Drew. Another double. Third double of the inning. Alex Romero doubles. Just to finish that thought, it is human nature. I mean, even though there's a ton of baseball left, you're in a battle. You want to see the Giants fall as they did tonight. You want to see the Dodgers fall. The scoreboard in every ballpark is very visible.
Well, you can't help but look at it.
Right.
I mean, it is only human nature that you would look at it. You would want to see what your competition is doing. But the one thing that Jim Tracy has really done with this ball club is said, focus on the task at hand. Focus on this game, what you can control in this game. Yeah, look at the scoreboard if you want, but don't change your approach, what you're going to have to do just because you saw somebody else win or lose. You still have to go out and, as you mentioned, take care of business here first. I mean, that's first and foremost.
Bob Apodaca visits with Peralta. I know it's just, it's a 10-3 ball game. Peralta took the loss on Saturday night when Chase Headley hit the pinch hit home run against him, gave up another run that inning also. Come out, you always want to be sharp, not always the case. Tonight he's given up a few line drives in the inning. And even the one out was hit pretty well by Ryan Roberts.
Yeah, and that's, as you mentioned, coming on the heels of what happened in Saturday's ball game. So if you're Joel, you're sitting there going, okay, this is to me a 4-3 ball game. I can't pitch like it's a 10-3 or 10-1 when I came in here. I've got to pitch like it's a 1-run ball game to make sure you show the confidence in the manager.
I'll tell you what you also don't want to see happen. And that is, you know, a 2-run home run here by Reynolds. All of a sudden, you have to get Houston Street up just in case in the 9th inning.
Well, already you've had to get Franklin Morales up and tossing, and that's not to say he might not have come in because it's been a few days since he's worked. But you don't want to get in a situation where you have to use somebody out of the bullpen. You use them because you want to.
Morales, the Rockies' only lefty down there. Alan Embry at the ballpark today on crutches, and I asked him, I said, there's a rumor flying around, you think you may be able to get back in September? And he said, I think it's a possibility if all goes well with the rehab.
Well, that would be good to see after what we saw before we left.
Yeah, how about that for a lift? It's a final in Atlanta. The Braves beat up the Giants 11-3 tonight. Tommy Hansen's 5-0. Chipper Jones hit his 11th. Garrett Anderson a home run. Ryan Church a home run. Here's the 1-2. Did get him to offer at the split.
Who started for San Francisco tonight?
I will tell you momentarily.
That's who we'll get on Saturday.
Jonathan Sanchez, and he did not throw a no-hitter. He lasted 6 innings. He actually pitched pretty well. Gave up 3 runs on 4 hits. They got after the bullpen. Sanchez didn't take the loss. Romo took the loss. 2-2 on Mark Reynolds. 3-2. Boy, that hung up in the strike zone.
A split finger that didn't go down. Just hung up there, and Reynolds just out on that front foot just a brief second. Boy, his eyes lit up. He knew he'd like to have that one back.
Lost him. It's 20 pitches, and that'll be all for Peralta. Jim Tracy's going to bring in Franklin Morales. We faced 5 hitters, and it was not Joel's night. 4 reach against Peralta. Rockies up 10-3.
Now, if I'm going in for a bare hand, which most of the time I like to bare hand anyways, I will try to come around it a little bit. Boom, this way, still off my left foot again. The biggest key here is just, which my high school coach always taught me, is to try to push the ball into the ground so you get a good grip. If it's dead, if the ball stopped. If it's rolling, I try to get underneath. Boom, like that. Try to get off my left foot and then throw off my right foot.
Most important part about that is if you can circle it a little bit and then just 2 steps and the ball's out of your hands. But when you go to throw off that right foot, really try to get a little momentum, a little push off there. And the other thing is when you throw the ball, it's going to fade back to first base, a lot like a fade shot in golf. So you got to start it up the line just a little bit more out towards the outfield side, so when it fades back to a first baseman, because if it starts to fade back into the runner too much, his arms get really short and he's not able to catch that ball.
Nice little tip.
Yeah, you know what? These have been fun because Ian's had a lot of great learning tools for all the young kids out there.
Got a chance to coach in his future?
Oh, yeah.
About 20 years from now?
Oh, yeah. Let's hope it's a while from now.
10-3, 1 out, 8th inning. Arizona with runners at first and second. Gerardo Parra at the plate. Franklin Morales now on the hill. And the pitch misses. This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Comcast. Warm up to unlimited local and long distance. Call 1-800-COMCAST. Franklin has been very fine out of the bullpen. 1 ball and 1 strike. Morales has made 5 scoreless relief appearances since being called back to the big leagues on July the 7th.
He's just really taken to this role. And think about all the starts that he had down in the Springs. It's a different mindset. The way you work in between your starts is different than when you come out of the bullpen. And Franklin, now being the only lefty that they have out there, understands what his role is now. It's going to be a late inning guy to come in and get 1 or 2 left-handers out. Be that bridge guy, whether it's going to be to another righty before you get to Houston Street. Sometimes he might be the 8th inning guy to finish it up, clean it up, and let Houston come in and save it.
2-1 on Parra. That's a strike. 92-mile-an-hour fastball. Lefties just 1 for 12 this year against Morales. He started a ball game on April 21st against Arizona, went 2 innings, allowed 2 runs on 2 solo home runs. This ball is chopped to short. Was it hard enough to turn to? There you go. Nice turn by Omar Quintanilla. Clint Barnes started it. So Morales comes in and ends the inning quickly. 10-3 Colorado. game. Chad is at first base, and Esperling Vasquez has come in.
That's fastball about 95, 97 miles an hour, hard slider, and an occasional changeup. This young man can rush it up to the plate, though.
Quintanilla will hit first, and then Dexter Fowler.
Nice double play that he turned in that last inning, and that's what makes him so valuable, to put him in anywhere.
He's got great hands.
Oh, he does. And then, of course, flipping Clint Barmas over to shortstop, give Troy a few innings off, and then they turn the double play. Yeah, one more look at this. Two-hopper to Clint, has to back up just a little bit, but then gives the underhand feed right on the bag, not worried about the runner. Strong throw. Just hours and hours of practice.
Yeah, and for Omar, I mean, practice, practice, practice. You don't get a lot of game time reps, but you wouldn't know it.
No. No, you wouldn't, because everything he tries to do out in the field, he takes ground balls at every single position, tries to do it at game speed. It's not the same, but it's the best you can do. And then throw on the fact that this is just his 33rd at bat of the year. That's tough to get your timing, keep your timing, and stay sharp. You can do it a little bit more easily out in the field than you can at the plate.
I don't have a list in front of me, but Omar, for a guy that has not seen the minor leagues this year, has been on the roster the entire year, has to have among the fewest at-bats in the big leagues for a position player that has never been sent out. As you said, just his 33rd AB of the year, and that's where it's really tough. I mean, he works his tail off in the cage, taking extra batting practice, but yeah, it's hard to replicate being out there.
Well, no starts in the month of June, and hasn't had any here in July either.
The 1-2 up high, 2-2. This kid does have a loose arm, Vasquez.
Yeah, he does.
Tomorrow, Aaron Cook against Max Scherzer. It'll be Scherzer's first start in the second half. Kind of backed off him a little bit. This is in the air to left. Parra, 1 out. And that'll bring up Dexter Fowler. Dexter is 1 for 3 in Milwaukee. Has scored a couple of runs. The one hit was a home run, a 2-run shot, in fact, back in the second inning. Ten runs, 11 hits for the Rockies.
Good thing too is he scored a lot of those early. He scored 5 runs in the first couple innings. Just jump on them quickly. Don't give them a chance to think that they're going to come in here and kind of do what they did last time. You set the tone. You set the pace of the ball game tonight. You got on their starter and Doug Davis.
Remember how Arizona dominated the Rockies a year ago, 15-3 against Colorado, and going back to last year, in their previous 12 ball games against the Rockies at Coors Field, Arizona had won 9 of them.
Yeah, 9-3. Most of the time it would come down to that bullpen, the difference in the bullpens, and unfortunately the Rockies couldn't hold it. But Manny Corpus now up and tossing. Good opportunity for him to come in next inning and get some work in.
Dexter Fowler did catch up with a 96-mile-an-hour fastball. 2 outs, and that'll bring up Barmas. Clint's got a couple of hits tonight, 2 for 4. Stolen base, a scored run. Dodgers up 6-3 now. Slider on the corner for a strike. Philly beat up the Cubs 10-1.
Well, that's good because the Cubs are only 2.5 back in the wild card.
And you got to remember those teams in the Central.
Yeah.
Teams in the East too. Home runs in that game by Ibanez is 25th. Ryan Howard is 24th. Carlos Ruiz is 4th. Pittsburgh leading at home against Milwaukee 7-2. That's good news. And Barmes is gone. A 1-2-3 inning for Vasquez. We'll go to the 9th inning. The Rockies looking to close out Arizona. 10-3 our score. Life. And by Mike Shaw, Chevy Saab, Colorado's crossover and SUV headquarters for 50 years. Visit MikeShawAuto.com. Rockies up 10-3 as the 9th inning has arrived at Coors Field on a beautiful Colorado evening. And let's check in with Tom Helmer. Tom?
Well, Drew, coming up after the game, we'll talk about the snake charmer, Jorge De La Rosa. Great outing tonight against Arizona. Also the perfect 10. 10 runs on the board. Everybody contributes. We'll break down the offense. That's all coming up right after the ball game, Drew. And I don't know where all these people are going. There's still baseball to be played, but a lot of people are heading for the exits here.
Well, you know what? There are a lot of people in the stadium. 40,444 on a Monday night against a club that's 14 games under 500. That speaks to how many people are excited about the Colorado Rockies in the heat of the race, in the heat of the summer. Chris Young will lead things off in the 9th inning. He's 0 for 3. Manuel Corpus is on the hill, and the first pitch is a little bit low, ball 1. Pitchers of record, De La Rosa, as Tom mentioned, and Doug Davis has the hook.
This is Manny's second appearance since coming back off the DL. Finished the game up Thursday at San Diego in the scoreless 9th inning for the Rockies in their win.
In the air to left center field. Well hit, and a lot of wind out there, and it's off the top of the wall. Chris Young has himself a triple.
Fourth triple now of the season for Chris Young. And he fell behind in the count, 2-0. The ball down, and that ball just stayed flat in the zone. Chris Young jumped on it, and a little bit of wind up there, and it just kept that ball from going out. It hit about 3/4 of the way up. Seth Smith just had to run it down.
Luke Carlin at the plate. Carlin is 0 for 3. Diamondbacks typically among the league leaders in triples. Their ballpark relinquishes a lot of triples, and they have a couple guys that run pretty well. They hit the ball in the gap a lot. Stephen Drew hits a bunch of triples. Chris Young hits a bunch of triples.
Yeah, and kind of the way that ballpark's configured in Arizona too. If it hits off one of those walls out there, it can come back towards you. So there's a lot of opportunities for triples at their home ballpark.
Justin Upton with 5 triples. Stephen Drew with 5 triples. For Young, that's his 4th triple. 0-2 on Luke Carlin. continuing the National League scoreboard. I mentioned that Pittsburgh's leading Milwaukee 7-2 in the 8th inning. The Mets beat Washington tonight in our nation's capital 6-2. Jeff Francoeur hit a home run. I believe that's his first in a Mets uniform. Levon Hernandez got the win. Here's the 0-2 inside. Houston beat St. Louis. Houston a game over 500. 3-2 the final. Moeller over Loesch.
Houston's quietly climbed back into things, and especially in the wild card.
Yeah, he just won't go away. Carlos Lee, his 14th home run in that ball game. And this is back up the middle. Safe at first. It'll be an infield hit for Carlin. Infield hit and an RBI.
Right back up the middle. Man, he ducked to try to get out of the way. Wasn't hit as hard as it looked coming off the bat. Omar, strong off-balance throw, just made that play a lot closer than what it looked like it was going to be.
1-0 on Ojeda. Two and 0. You come into these situations, a big lead, and maybe the adrenaline's not flowing quite as much, but you still want to get 3 quick and efficient outs.
You know what? It should be for Manny, though, because he had been out for so long, and just his second appearance back, that much like Joel, when he came in, you have to look at it, you have to put your mind as it's still a close ball game, because it's still your numbers, it's still your stats. And also, on the flip side of it, if I'm Arizona and I scratch out a couple runs, then I feel a little bit better heading in towards tomorrow's ball game.
It's 3-1. That's in there. 3-2. Florida leading in San Diego 1-0. That ball game in the 6th inning. 6-3 Dodgers in the 4th. Manny Ramirez has hit a home run his 10th.
San Diego made a trade today. Traded Clay Meredith
to Baltimore. Swung on and missed. The runner was moving. And Ojeda's gone. Luke Carlin to second. No stolen base awarded. 1 out. That'll bring up Chad Tracy, who doubled last inning. And he came on as a pinch hitter. He stayed in the ball game at first base. Chad hitting .230, but he's like Babe Ruth when he comes up against the Rockies. Barmes will throw out Tracy. 2 outs. Inside the National League West, the Dodgers played understandably the best baseball. They're 30-12 inside the division. The Giants a game over 500, 18-17. Arizona's next at 17-21. The Rockies, with assuming their win tonight, will go to 17-22. Jim Tracy was asked. Stephen Drew steps up before the ball game. This ball's hit the deep right. This is out. It's off the facade of the second deck. This is not how Manny wanted to work the 9th inning. All of a sudden, this thing's going to look a little tighter than it actually was. 2-run home run, and it's 10-6.
The 7th home run now for Stephen Drew. He just jumped on that on the first pitch.
The slider was flat,
Yep.
and the sinker has not had real bite to it.
And neither one of them have. And that's why this ball hit the facade going towards the second deck. Ryan, this is the situation that you didn't want to get to, with Houston Street now having to get up and at least make a few tosses to possibly get ready to come into the game. Now, he's a veteran guy. He could probably understand that I don't need to go as hard as I can, but still, it's a little bit of a wear and tear on the arm just to get up when you're thinking a 10-1 or 10-3. I'm not going in.
1-1 on Ryan Roberts. 1-2. Finish that thought. Jim Tracy was asked before the ball game about the Rockies' under 500 record inside the West, and that they hadn't played well against the West. He said, hold on a second. He said, we haven't played well against one team. He said, everybody else, especially the last couple of months, we've been fine with.
Right.
And he's right. I mean, the Dodgers have been dominant. 2-2.
Especially early on before that last series out in LA, when the Rockies only took one, but were in all 3 ball games and should have, could have, should have, whatever.
Yeah.
All 3.
There were 9 total runs in that series. To a slider, and it's 3-2. And ball 4. After being ahead 1-2, Corpus loses Roberts, and now you have Romero, and now Apodaca is going to go out. I guess the only downside of this ball game for the Rockies has been the work of 2 members in their bullpen. It's been a tough night for Joel Peralta. He got just 1 out, gave up a couple of runs on 3 hits, walked the batter. Morales did a nice job getting a double play ground ball on 4 pitches. But Manny Corpus has not looked good here in the 9th.
Yeah, and that is a little unsettling as you move forward towards tomorrow's game. I think it does help, though. You got Aaron Cook to be able to go out there and hopefully give you 7-8 strong innings.
Miguel Montero has come out on deck, and this will be it for Corpus. If he doesn't get Romero, you're going to be forced to bring in Houston Street. And believe it or not, it'll be a save situation.
Yeah, and that's, I mean, hard to think about when just 2 innings ago you're just cruising right along.
You're up 10-1.
You're 10-1. You're figuring, okay, just get 6 more quick outs. We'll go home. We'll have a nice dinner and go after him tomorrow.
And that misses. And the Rockies allow the runner to move to second base again, and Roberts. That limits you a little bit defensively in trying to get a force. Colorado just needs 1 out, but it has been elusive. And strike zone proving to be elusive now for Corpus.
And it's starting to overthrow the ball a little bit.
Strike. Romero came into right field in the 8th inning, doubled in a run. Rockies a big night, especially early with runners in scoring position. Scored in each of the first 5 innings. And that's a foul ball.
Let's go right back at him with that hard sinker now. Got a little bit of command with that. Work down in the zone. Just get your ground ball and be done with this.
You know, when Manny's going well, I mean, he takes the baseball and he's throwing it again. He's been very deliberate here. Here's the 2-2. And on the ground, a kick to knee. A good play by Omar. And finally, that's the ball game. A little too much drama in the ninth inning, but the Rockies win. That's the bottom line. They're now 51-42. For the first time this year, they are 9 games above 500. And coupled with the loss by the Giants earlier tonight at Turner Field in Atlanta, the Rockies now leading in the wild card, and they're now second in the National League West. De La Rosa is 7-7. He gets the victory, 7 very fine innings. The loss to Doug Davis, he falls to 4-10. One more note on De La Rosa. He now leads the big leagues with 7 wins since June 5th. There's the updated standings. The Rockies win it 10-6 over Arizona. Stand by. The postgame report is next.